Hello, everyone. This is Amy Dean, and welcome to our Awakening Spiritually Together live show. For those of you who are just joining us, my name is Amy Dean. I am a psychotherapist and ascension coach. And what I do is I help high achieving, self aware women who are struggling with self criticism and perfectionism. And I help them heal their inner child wounds, live their life purpose, and awaken spiritually. And so, if that is you, you are in the right place or some variation of that. And today I'm going to be sharing how slowing down can help you activate of course, activate your intuition, but most importantly, how we can get to your life purpose as a result of activating your intuition and going inward. So, one thing that's very important, make sure that you have all distractions out of the way. So, that means turning off anything that might distract you from our live show today and making sure that you're in a comfortable place where you won't be disturbed for a little while. And of course, I want to see and hear where you're from and of course, if you've joined us before. So please let me know in the comments because sometimes StreamYard, which is the type of system I'm using, does not tell me your name. So please let me know in the comments. That way I can say hello to you and also ask your questions as we go along here. I want to be able to answer them for you. And if I can't get to them today, sometimes the comments don't show up right away or there's a little bit of a lag. So if I don't see them, then I'll be sure to answer them after our live show today. So if you're ready to get started, let's dive in to our topic, which is tapping into the power of slowing down to discover your life purpose. So first, the first thing, which I mentioned just briefly earlier, which is how slowing down can help you activate your intuition. So this is our last training on slowing down this month. So I want to share with you just a little bit to help you really just encourage you to watch previous trainings to make sure you didn't miss anything throughout this month. I provided a lot of helpful tips to make sure that you got exactly what you need in order to create a slow living, mindful lifestyle. So please do check out those previous videos. I believe you can find them under the guides section in our Facebook group. So you can find them by, I believe it says Facebook Live shows. So head over there after our training today and check out those as soon as you can. Now, today, I want to dive deeper into your intuition because your intuition is the channel from which we can understand our soul's purpose. So, you might imagine that when you're disconnected from your intuition, your mind's going a million miles an hour. It can feel like you're scattered, everything's in chaos, and it's hard to understand, right? What it is you need to do next. It can be so confusing. And so many women are in this kind of perpetual state of overwhelm and exhaustion as a result of pushing themselves continuously to do more and to make things happen. And I want to give you permission today, if any day, today especially, to give yourself a break and to slow down. And this is part of that for you. Just taking this time out for yourself is one way of slowing down and letting yourself truly come back to your body, right? Which we oftentimes forget about during a busy day. And so, one thing is the first step is that we want to slow down in order to give ourselves permission, right? We have to give ourselves permission. Otherwise, we are not going to find that peace and that joy deep within us. Now, if permission is the first step, you might imagine that that would be also potentially the hardest step for you. If you have a very busy schedule and there's all these different parts of you saying, well, how on earth am I going to slow down? And how am I going to actually take a break when I feel so overwhelmed? So, overwhelm is a chronic state of stress in your body, in your system. And this overwhelm is giving you a message. It's actually saying, I need to slow down. But what we tend to hear is we need to speed up to make things happen so that we feel less overwhelmed. And I know if you've tried this, like many of us have, you may have tried just trying to get as much done as you can in order to feel less overwhelmed. But what's interesting is the more you speed up, the less intuitive messages you're going to hear, and therefore the less you're going to know about your purpose. right? So it's very interesting how we tend to get into busy mode in order to not feel that emptiness, right, of not knowing what our true purpose is. So, let me give you a few tips here just to help with getting in touch with your intuition a bit more. So, first, it's necessary to take small breaks throughout the day. And paying attention to your breath is so important. This helps you to surrender to anything outside your control, which is almost everything, right? That's outside your control each and every moment. So I'm sure you can imagine this is more of a long-term lifestyle change that needs to happen and not something that you just do one day and then every other day, right? You spend in busyness. So, in just a bit, I will be leading you through a meditation to help you discover your number one block for what's keeping you from being able to slow down each and every day. And then, of course, that block is what's keeping you from knowing your true purpose. So, we'll get to that in just a bit here. But in the meantime, I want to refer back to a previous training that I did this month, which again, you can find in the guides section in our Facebook group. And I spoke about how to discover your values and this is all about finding out what is important to you, what matters to you, what is meaningful in your life. And when you find out what that is and you truly, truly know 100%, then you are more likely to put your time and your energy in those categories of your life. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy necessarily, but it does mean with clarity, you're able to step into that much easier. So, the way intuition comes through your senses, I want to guide you through this a bit because values will also connect to your intuition in many ways. So, the way intuition comes through your senses is it's coming through the channel of your higher self, if you want to imagine. It's like your higher self is all encompassing, right? It truly is you and who you are. But there is this almost like this information channel coming from your higher self into your intuitive knowing deep within. And so, if you know how to recognize your intuition, you're able to recognize so much more. You're able to know exactly what it is you're meant to do here on this planet at this time. And so, you have to know how intuition comes through for you. Right. And you also need to be in touch with your values in order to be able to get in touch with your intuition. So, for example, if your values are mindfulness and being present every day, let's say that's a value of yours. It probably is if you're here, right? That would be maybe one of your values. And so, if so, then if you're not following that value, then you're likely not receiving as much information as you could intuitively because there's a block happening, right? Because values do come from a deeper place inside, right? It comes from your soul's desires. So that's important to note. Now, let's talk about how intuition comes through because if you don't know how intuition comes through, you're going to be very confused, right? Going forward here. So it comes through in many ways. Often it's a gut feeling, an aha sense of innate knowing, right? It's like you can't prove it, but you just somehow know it to be true. And that's what it feels like inside. Some people, it's more of like a thought based experience where you have a very clear yes or a very clear no when you ask a question in your mind or when you use a pendulum. So these are different ways that you can get in touch with that. Now, there's no right or wrong way to access your intuition. And what is most important is to find out how you get intuitive information. So, with that being said, I encourage you to pay close attention over the next few days to help you discover how you make decisions. And are you making decisions from a place of fear or are you making decisions from a place of love? Now, this can be an easy way of determining whether you are receiving intuitive messages or whether you are just receiving messages from what I call your subpersonalities or different parts of you that are running the show of your mind, so to speak. And so, one way of looking at it is that if you are, of course, spending more time making decisions from a place of love deep within your heart, then you can be sure you're on the right track. And you'll know it. You'll feel it in your heart. You'll know that it's intuitive. You'll feel on track with it. And you'll understand more about what you need to do next. You'll have the clarity of what exactly needs to happen in that next moment. So, with fear, often we can get them so mixed up because it might be a worry about something in the future. And you might think, well, was that my intuition? So, your intuition does not come through as fear or worry. It is very gentle. It is sometimes subtle, sometimes strong, but however it comes through for you, it's going to have a loving and a more kind of almost like a graceful way of guiding you towards that next step. It's not going to throw you or push you into something and tell you have to do this, right? It's not assertive in that kind of way. So that's something to note as well. It's very kind of like a softer sense of knowing is how your intuition is, which is why when you have fearful thoughts, when you have worrisome thoughts, it is so difficult to truly know what is happening, right? Because those energies can feel so much bigger and so much more powerful than your intuitive knowing. Although it's not true, it's just a feeling we have and the energies we're dealing with in the moment. So I'm just going to encourage you, just notice, what are you doing? How are you focusing on your attention? What kind of decisions are you making every day? And just start to track it. If you want to journal it, I highly recommend it. Start to notice what this decision made from fear or love. You'll find that there's a continuum here and that you are making decisions in line with that. It'll feel compassion, compassion from your heart when you're making decisions where you're serving others or making something, or doing something where you are just coming from your heart. So that for sure this is right. I'm making a difference, right? Whereas fear, just coming back to that one more time, fear is a sensation in your body. It is of course, a warning sign, and of course, sometimes important, right, to listen to. But often it can be a catastrophic thinking experience that takes us away from our intuition. So that's something to note. Now, I want to come back to, as we're talking about your purpose here, I want to go into another subject, which is that your purpose, and you might find this very interesting, from the perspective of spiritual awakening, right? The number one purpose you have is to awaken to who you truly are as your divine higher self. So I'm going to say that again because it is so important that you really take in the information. Spiritual awakening, right, from this perspective, the one purpose you have is to awaken as your divine higher self. That is your number one primary purpose. And any other purpose you are seeking is just a secondary or an outer purpose. And as you focus on your primary purpose, which is to awaken spiritually, then your secondary purpose will become obvious to you. Now, this is interesting, right? Because we usually go the other route, don't we? We're trying to find and seek and we're looking for it. And we're like, where is my purpose? And what am I supposed to be doing here? And we're looking at it from an outer inner approach. I need to do something out there so that I feel connected and in tune with the divine within me. So the opposite is often true. If you're focusing on the inner experience, which is something more like, how can I ascend on my spiritual awakening path? And you're questioning these different beliefs that you carry, and you're really tapping into the things that keep you stuck on your spiritual awakening path, then that's going to lead you to discovering your soul's purpose. So, and as far as what this looks like, if you want to find out a bit more about where you are on the spiritual awakening path and you haven't taken my phase, so it's a 6-phase spiritual awakening quiz, please let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to get that to you. So what it is I have, well, through my own spiritual awakening journey and through my Akashic Records readings, I discovered there are 6 phases that we explore as we're waking up to who we really are. So I created this quiz to help you understand where you are currently, just a current snapshot of where you are in your journey. So please know it does shift, and as you evolve, then you're going to move through the ascension of these phases. But please check that out because you can find out where are you in this, and it might give you some clarity on why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. Also, if you haven't checked out my free spiritual awakening guidebook that I offer here in the Facebook group, please let me know as well, because that's going to help you move forward on your spiritual awakening path in addition to understanding where you are in the quiz. So, just a couple things. Let me know in the comments, and then I'll be checking that and seeing, how I can get that to you in the near future. Now, let's talk about the obstacles that are keeping you from knowing your purpose, right? So now we're talking about your outer purpose, right? Because again, your primary purpose is to awaken spiritually, right? And that is 100% what, if you're focusing on that, that is going to give you the most, just it's going to help you get in touch with your highest self the easiest and the quickest way possible, I can promise you. And I know that it's so much easier to say, well, I want to discover my purpose, I want to discover my outer purpose. And I have to ask you a question around that. So if you're still a person that finds that you just want to know, you're just like, oh well, I know I'm on my spiritual awakening path and I'm doing what I can, but I really want to know what I'm doing because I hate my job or this or that, or I'm so burnt out. So again, this is what happens within us. We're trying to solve a problem out there first so we can feel better in here, right? And that is absolutely, the opposite way we should be going about it, because we won't become fulfilled. Even if you did discover your outer purpose, even if you knew 100% what it is, if you weren't following in your primary purpose, which is awakening spiritually to this highest level of who you are, you're going to be unfulfilled, right? If that makes sense. So, as we're talking about this block to your purpose and not knowing your purpose, we're really actually talking about both. I know I said we're talking about number two here, but we're talking about both because they're not really separate. I know it might feel as if they're separate as I'm talking about it, but it's just to kind of bring about the context of each one. And so, really, the number one obstacle that keeps you from slowing down, which of course keeps you from listening to your intuition, which then keeps you from understanding where you are in your spiritual awakening path and how to ascend, and then keeps you from knowing your outer purpose, is exactly what we need to discover. We need to know what this block is. What is keeping you from knowing exactly what to do and to have clarity in your life at the deepest level? And this is for your primary purpose and your secondary purpose here in this lifetime. So let's do a little meditation here. I want to help you get in touch with this block, and then, of course, find out how, what that was for you and anything you want to share about it in the comments. So take a moment. I just encourage you to get settled in, taking a few deep breaths when you're ready, allowing yourself just to release and relax, and just closing your eyes if you are in a safe place to do so right now. And I just encourage you, if you want to place one hand over your heart, I encourage you to do so, or just to feel your feet flat on the ground, but just to make some contact to help you feel more embodied. And as you close your eyes, taking a few deep belly breaths just to settle in. And just notice how it feels to be you in this body right now. And even if there are so many thoughts running through your mind, I just invite you to let them be here without making anything happen, without having to change anything about what you're experiencing. Just let yourself be. And just breathing, allowing yourself to be fully present here. Maybe if it helps, you can take in the sounds in the room or outside the room you're in. Let them deepen your journey inward. Good. And just settling into your seat, feeling the breath effortlessly coming through into your mouth or into your nose and out of your mouth if you'd like. So just noticing how your body needs the breath right now. If you feel the need to take a deeper breath because you're holding so much tension, feel free to do so. And exhale, just letting it go and letting it out. And just know that the goal of meditation isn't to get rid of thoughts. It isn't to necessarily slow down your thoughts, but more importantly, it's to be aware of your thoughts and to notice that they're present and that there's emotions and that you have sensations because you're human and that's normal. And just practice allowing your emotions to be, simply allowing your breath to be, and just being gentle with yourself in this way. Good. And then when ready, taking a few moments to gently and softly recollect the past 24 hours, whether it is today or yesterday, and see in your mind's eye your quality of spiritually collected energy. And what that means is the experience of feeling grounded, of feeling at peace, or feeling at ease in your day. So without judging yourself, sending compassion right to yourself, see the past 24 hours and just asking yourself, how grounded was I? How at peace and how at ease was I in my body? And just softly scanning, allowing your mind to go wherever it needs to, but not getting caught in the thoughts or the story of your day. So staying with your breath if anything draws you in. Good. And as I give you some ideas for what may be keeping you from slowing down and therefore discovering your purpose, just notice what comes through intuitively. As you sit with this, just allow yourself to breathe and relax and ask yourself these questions. Is my number one block overworking? Listen for a yes or a no or a clear sense from your intuition. Was my block or is my block over the past 24 hours, was it overworking? And then asking yourself, was it busyness? Was I over busying myself with too much to do? Was it listening and believing to most or all of my thoughts? Was it a fear of being still and therefore silent within myself? And if you're noticing all of the above or something else, just let that arise. That's okay, no matter what comes through. Just notice if there is many of them that are showing up that were blockages for you over the past 24 hours. See if you can notice which one is giving you the sense that it's the root cause of your emotional disturbances. And whatever that is for you, just keep, if your hand's not here, make sure it is, or keep your hand on your heart and give yourself some compassion. You deserve so much love, and taking time to just nurture yourself in this beautiful present moment, knowing you are doing the very best you can right now. Just giving yourself that, choosing to be kind to yourself. And then when ready, I want you just to take some time to come back to the room, maybe just a few seconds, or if you need a minute or so to open your eyes. And then when ready, coming back to the room. And I would love to hear your experience of this meditation and in general of the training. So please let me know in the comments. What is really important too is that I want to know what your block is so I can help you move through this block. So, if you are a self aware, spiritually dedicated, or highly ambitious woman, if you're finding that you're burnt out, you're overwhelmed, you are just feeling anxious, or you just struggle with perfectionism and self criticism, or you just feel so disconnected from your life purpose right now, then I encourage you to book a free spiritual discovery call with me. And it's a free 15-minute call where I will get to know a little bit more about your blocks so I can help provide some free resources for your journey and find out if there's anything else I can do to help in order to make sure that you're able to break through these blocks that are keeping you stuck. So let me know in the comments if you're interested. I will be posting my call link in the group. And I often have, I would say 1 to 2 openings each week. So just make sure that you jump on that if you're interested. And other than that, I look forward to seeing all of you in the group. Please let me know your experiences in the comments. I know they haven't come through yet and they do take some time, but when they do come through, I will respond to those as soon as possible. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Take good care and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Namaste.